Who knew it would be so easy to get rid of EG? Now that he's gone, I can make the PlayStation Vita hardware retrospective in peace. For crime and ninny. Salutations! Speak of the devil. EG, what can I do you for? Since you started down the road of PlayStation hardware, I've decided to introduce you to a real expert. PG.
Sup, dog?
Okay, I think I've got this one figured out. Now, PlayStation Gamer would be a bit on the nose. So I'd say that PG stands for Poser Gamer.
Yo, no, G. PG is short for a rapper named Parental Guidance. I spit rhymes about the proper raising of kids when I'm not schooling fools about PlayStation with my eyelids.
That's all very interesting. Anyway, I'm about to start part 2. You in or you out?
Oh yeah, boy.
That means he's in.
Nah, really? Thanks, EG. I sure am glad you're here to tell us these things. While there are technically 3 models of the PlayStation Vita, 4 if you count the 3G variant, the 2 handheld models are extremely similar while the PlayStation TV serves to provide a way to play Vita games on your, well, TV.
And you know what? Sony made absolutely no mistakes with the Vita. Much like my first 19 albums, it was underappreciated in its prime and can't get a venue to save his life. It's life. Vita means life.
Okay, so moving on, we're going to get hands-on with the OLED model. The screen is utilizing an OLED panel at 960 by 544 resolution with a size of 5 inches. Just next to the face buttons is a well-hidden front-facing camera that some games utilize in surprising ways. With the controls, we have directional buttons on the left and face buttons on the right, all of which are much smaller than those found on the PSP. The sticks below them are small yet durable. The oval-shaped PlayStation button lights up, and the similarly oval-shaped Start and Select are also smaller and harder to press. The stereo speakers have decent volume to them. Over on the left side, there's nothing there. On the back, we've got a rear camera that can be used for taking pictures and recording video. The unique touchpad is also located here between a couple of grips, which are a nice touch for comfort. The right side is just like the left, nothing here. Moving on up to the top, we have large and springy shoulder buttons, a fancy metal-looking power button, the Vita card slot, accessory port, and equally pretty volume controls. Rolling down to the bottom now, we've got a proprietary charging port, standard headphone jack, microphone, and the memory card slot. The Vita OLED is a net improvement over the PSP line of systems. The screen is without a doubt OLED, so you get all the wonderful and not so wonderful aspects that come along with that display technology. When I first handled a Vita OLED at launch, I could not help but notice how small and sharp the directional and face buttons feel during play. They also don't have nearly as much travel as the buttons that you find on a PSP. Its heftiness lets you know immediately you are holding a serious piece of tech, but it doesn't feel heavy when playing it in both hands. The version of the OLED that lacks 3G, the most common OLED model, weighs 9.2 ounces and is still very pocketable, despite it being larger than any PSP.
Hey yo, I like me that OLED screen, dog. This thing's so heavy in fact, it could do some serious damage if you pick it up like this and swing it down hard, G. Not that I would know anything about violence or anything else related to said subject matter. Leastways, that's what my lawyer tells me to say.
Next up is the Slim. The screen is the exact same size and resolution as the OLED screen, except it is now LCD. The camera here is far less hidden this time around. The directional and face buttons have a subtle difference from the OLED's buttons. they stick out a tad bit more. The control sticks are the same, while the PlayStation button no longer lights up. Both it and start and select buttons are now circular in shape and also stick out a little bit more. The speakers are surprisingly much louder on the Slim model. Just like on the OLED, if we take a look on the left side, we'll find nothing of interest. Over yonder on the back, we've got the same features, but they've all been tweaked in different ways. The camera is now more recessed into the chassis, while the touchpad has been shrunken down to make way for the larger grips. If you were expecting the trend to change with the right side of the Vita Slim, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. There's nothing here either. Up top, we do see some significant changes. The shoulder buttons have been trimmed down somewhat and aren't as springy as the OLEDs. We've got a plastic power button, power and charging LEDs, the Vita card slot, and plastic volume controls. The accessory slot is nowhere to be found. The bottom doesn't feature many changes, but there are a couple worth mentioning. The charging port is now micro USB, meaning any old cord will work. The headphone jack now juts out in a very inelegant fashion, and the microphone and memory card slot are almost identical. The Vita Slim, as its nickname suggests, is a good deal slimmer and lighter than the OLED, weighing in at 7.7 ounces. On further inspection, all of the buttons on the Slim feel like they have a rounded edge instead of the sharp edges on the OLED. There's also a rubbery-like bezel that runs around the sides and bottom, which could save it from nicks and scrapes that the OLED likes to collect along its edge.
Personally, if it was up to me, I would have kept the buttons sharp on the Slim too. Just like in music, if something ain't sharp, that means it's flat. And who wants a flat button? Not this homie. That's for show. That's for show. No doubt, dog, no doubt. At the end of the day, you gots to keep it sharp. Are you hearing me, G?
I hear ya. And Sony must have heard Vita fans wanting a way to hook their systems up to a TV and play their games, because that is what the PlayStation TV is all about. The only thing I can say about the front here is that there is a white LED that tells you when the unit is on, or in sleep mode. I find it confusing, honestly. The left side features nothing of note. The back features all the things. The port for power input is now a barrel-style connection, followed by an Ethernet port. Don't worry, it still has Wi-Fi, HDMI port, USB port, memory card slot, and power button. The right side actually has something this time around. The Vita card slot. Guess they couldn't cram it on the back like they did with everything else. On the top, there is nothing. But oddly enough, I discovered a hidden magnet on this side underneath. I thought it might have been installed for a stand that might utilize it, but I can't seem to find any official Sony branded stand for the PlayStation TV. I'd love to hear your thoughts on why it has a magnet inside. The PlayStation TV is an interesting experiment in the PlayStation line. All signs point to the accessory port on the OLED as an eventual video out for playing content and games on your TV, which never was activated. And since the Slim and TV models came out around the same time with the Slim missing that port, Sony seemed to have a change of heart and decided to sell two pieces of hardware instead of one.
Alright, dog. You talking about the PlayStation TV? Man, that's some next level gaming right there. EG might just be wrong about you. Keep it real, my man.
You bet.
And just what am I supposed to keep real exactly? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 2 of the PlayStation Vita hardware retrospective. It really is amazing just how much you can learn off these pieces of tech by holding them in your hands. Next week we'll be splitting hairs and ranking each of these 3 Vita models. And something tells me I won't have to do it alone either. This is Steven with Level 1 Sword, and just like those Vita OLED buttons, you stay sharp out there.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to keep on top of the videos, definitely take a sec to subscribe. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon if you want to follow me across the internet. Level 1 Sword also has a bi-weekly podcast, so give it a listen.